These were the appointments of the dwelling place. The dwelling place of the witness, which was appointed by the command of Moshe for the service of the Levites by the hand of Ithamar, a son of Aharon the priest. And Bezalel, Brian. And Bezalel, son of Uri, son of Hur, of the tribe of Yehudah, made all that Yah had commanded Moshe. And with him Aholiab, son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan, an engraver and designer, an embroiderer in blue and purple and scarlet material, and in fine linen, all the gold prepared for the work, in all the work of the set-apart place. And it was the gold of the wave offering came to be 29 talents and 730 shekels, according to the shekel of the set-apart place.
Okay, and just for your FYI, weight of all the gold, silver, and bronze was 29 talents and 730 shekels, which equals Brian. That's enough.
Brian.
Yes. Which equals 14 tons and 226 pounds.
That's a lot.
So, the other thing I wanted to point out from last week's reading, it said that the temple in 1 Kings, they did not weigh anything, because they had so many things. And yet Yahweh said you make this specific amount and it will weigh this amount.
Is a demonstration of Wirecast.
So.
All right, we're on verse 25. And the silver from the ones counted of the congregation was 100 talents and 1,775 shekels, according to the shekel of the set-apart place. A beka, half a shekel for a head, according to the shekel of the set-apart place, for everyone passing over to those counted, 20 years old and above, for 603,550 men. And the 100 talents of silver were for casting the sockets of the set-apart place and the bases of the veil. 100 sockets with 100 talents, a talent for each socket. And of the 1,775 shekels, he made hooks for the columns and overlaid their tops and made bands for them. And the bronze of the wave offering was 70 talents and 2,400 shekels. And with it he made the sockets for the door of the tent of meeting, and the bronze altar, and the bronze grating for it, and all the utensils for the altar. And the sockets for the courtyard all around, and the bases for the courtyard gate, and all the pegs for the dwelling place, and all the pegs for the courtyard all around.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Now we're in chapter 39. And of the blue and purple and scarlet material they made woven garments to do service in the set-apart place, and they made the set-apart garments which were for Aharon, as Yah had commanded Moshe. And he made the shoulder garment of gold, of blue, and purple and scarlet material, and of fine woven linen. And they beat out sheets of gold and cut it into threads, to work in it with the blue and purple and scarlet material, and the fine linen, the work of a skilled workman. And they made shoulder pieces for it to join it, and it was joined at its two edges. And the embroidered band of the shoulder garment Jojo, Brian, and the embroidered band of the shoulder garment that was on it was of the same work of gold, and blue and purple and scarlet material,
Jojo.
and of fine woven linen, as Yah has commanded Moshe. And they made the shalom stones and set it in plated work of gold, engraved as signets are engraved, according to the names of the sons of Israel.
No, you're not allowed to jump on the couch. Get down.
David, let go of the ball.
You can play without jumping on the couch.
And he put them on the shoulders of the shoulder garments, the garment stones of remembrance for the sons of Israel, as Yah had commanded. And he made the breastplate, a work of a skilled workman, like the work of a shoulder garment, of gold, of blue and purple and scarlet material, and of fine woven linen. It was square. They made the breastplate double. Its length to span and its width to span double. And they filled it with four rows of stones, a row of rubies, a topaz, and an emerald was the first row. And the second row a turquoise, a sapphire, and a diamond. And the third row a jacinth, an agate, and a amethyst. And the fourth row a beryl, a stone, and a jasper, set in plated work of gold in their settings. And the stones were according to the names of the sons of Israel, 12 according to their names, engraved like a signet, each one with its own name, according to the 12 tribes.
Okay, so I did a little bit of research on this, looking for the places, you just have to look at my notes to really get it. I put where they were in the birth order.
Of Wirecast.
Then I put down, the other time it was listed was the blessing from Jacob. He blessed them, what order he blessed them in, which was different. And then I put down the blessing and the curse, because then they were split in two, just like the stones.
Right?
Okay? And I put it down that way, and that was different.
Yes, truck.
Um,
the hat cloth?
I suspect when we look, we see a number of times that the firstborn is no longer the one that is born first in a physical way.
Right.
But the firstborn is the one who is so spiritual, okay, who will follow and do what his father has commanded him. We see that done over and over and over again. So I suspect that this is just another way of saying, because we know that these stones represented the government on his shoulders. That's said in Isaiah. And so this is the judgment, the blessing and the curse. And so I suspect that the way that they were listed, those who stood on Mount Gerizim, the blessing, were on one stone. And those who were representing the curse are on the other stone. I suspect that that is how it was. Now, I don't have a whole lot of evidence because it does say, order of their birth, but I just have too many evidences of the birth order not being according to physical birth order, but according to who.
Demonstration of Wirecast.
So, anyway, I wanted to put that out there as a thought.
Frequently throughout scripture, the firstborn was not actually the first one to exit the womb.
In fact, Peretz and Zerah, the twin sons of Judah, or
What
Yehuda.
about Jacob and Esau? Jacob became the firstborn, even though he was the secondborn.
Right. But like in the physical sense, the one that was supposed to come out first, they tied a string around his finger, but he pulled back in, and then the other brother came out.
Demonstration
So,
of Wirecast.
I thought that was something to consider. The other things that popped up in my head about this, I saw a lot of stuff talked about in scripture that to me represented these two stones. Because he says in Matthew, he shall set the sheep on his right hand and the goats on his left, the blessing and the curse. Okay? So then I was like, okay, then what's the difference between the sheep and the goats? Physically, what is the difference? So I looked it up. Sheep have 54 chromosomes. Goats have 60. When you mix them, the ones that are done in the laboratories are called chimeras. Okay, which we see in scripture. Okay, if you go and look at Revelation 9, you will see that a symbol basically of the chimera in Greek and Roman mythology. Okay, it's very much like the locust. Okay, so that I was like, ooh, okay. But also sheep tend to follow whoever their leader is, whoever the shepherd is, they follow. Goats go their own way, they do their own thing. That is their natural makeup. So that shows us once again the separation between the sheep that follow him and are obedient and do what he says, and the goats who say, no, I'll do my own way. We see him talk about that in scripture a lot. But it also brought up the scripture in Mark where he says, truly I say to you, whoever does not receive the reign of Elohim, the word, as a little child follow, shall certainly not enter into it. So that from that, that's what came to me. He's showing that to us in this whole wardrobe the priest is wearing. He is showing us all these little tidbits
You're inside out.
of Torah and of the future, of end times, in the high priest's wardrobe. I found that amazing.
It's to remind us.
You know, that we just see it as a wardrobe and we just think, oh, it's just a costume he wears and it means nothing. And Yahweh didn't do anything without it having a meaning for us.
Nothing arbitrary.
And he did it all very specifically. It was very specific. Everything had a meaning. And it's up to us to find the meaning. And so I feel like here, I understand the meaning of stones now. When I read about them, I will not read all of this information, but it will all pop into my head
Demonstration of
as
wire
it should have them. So I wanted to share that because I found that all very awesome. Here Messiah is saying about these stones. He's given the story.
Continue? Okay. Exodus 39:15. And they made braided chains of corded work for the breastplate at the ends of clean gold. And they made 2 settings of gold and 2 gold rings, and put the 2 rings on the 2 ends of the breastplate. And they put the 2 cords of gold in the 2 rings on the breastplate, on the ends of the breastplate. And the 2 ends of the 2 cords they fastened in the 2 settings, and put them on the shoulder pieces of the shoulder garment in the front. And they made 2 rings of gold and put them on the 2 ends of the breastplate on the edge of it, which was on the inward side of the shoulder garment. And they made 2 gold rings and put them on the 2 shoulder pieces underneath the shoulder garment on the front of it, close to its seam above the embroidered band of the shoulder garment.
wire cast.
And they bound the breastplate by means of its rings to the rings of the shoulder garment with a blue cord, so that it would be above the embroidered band of the shoulder garment, and that the breastplate would not come loose from the shoulder garment as Yah had commanded Moshe. And he made the robe of the shoulder garment of woven work, all of blue. And the opening of the robe was in the middle, like the opening in a scalded armor, with a woven binding all around the opening, so that it would not tear. And they made on the hem of the robe pomegranates of blue and purple and scarlet material twine.
Okay, so, woven work. Think about how many verses he says we're to be one. We're to be woven together as one. Okay, and that's what I think he's showing here is, here's all these different colors, different people, and they're woven together, working together as one
Right.
wardrobe. That's the picture I get from that. Opening of the robe was in the middle. He's in the midst of us. Okay, he's walking with us. So and I find that amazing. Those little bits that he gives there. Other thing, I have a picture of what the pomegranates would look like. It was not a little pomegranate. It is the way that they said it looked like a pomegranate. Because when you make a tassel and you have the fabric, thread gathered at the top and you tie it at the top,
Wire cast.
okay, and then you cut it off short, it looks just like a pomegranate. It's a descriptive term. So he's not saying they had pomegranate. Okay, look at the picture. That is what it would have looked like.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's not a literal pomegranate as people want to think of it
The
as.
pomegranate has the orb shape with a little frill.
But all I'm saying is people want to take it and say, oh, pomegranate. So the pomegranate itself must have some meaning. I don't think so. I think they use the word pomegranate to describe the look. It is strictly a descriptive word.
And bells. Because it's not an actual bell.
Yeah, they were actually bells.
Ryan?
Yeah, that's the picture I have here.
Ryan?
It shows it's a pomegranate, a bell, a
Ryan,
pomegranate, a bell. Okay?
Behave.
So here's my question, and I ran out of time to look it up. When he says because this is just a short tassel, that's all these pomegranates are. Short tassel. Is that what we are supposed to have on our wardrobe?
Bells?
No. Just the quote short tassel, the pomegranate, the short tassel. Here's why I ask this. look up what the word is for tzitzit. Look up the word when it talks about you put it on the borders. It actually means hem. It doesn't
Or
mean corners.
extremities, or wings.
It means the hem of your garment. This was the hem of their garment. I couldn't find the word tzitzit fast enough. I was running out of time, so I have to research this more afterwards. It's just a question I have, only because I heard someone else talking about it and speaking about it, and they were saying, I don't think the tzitzit are what we have always traditionally taught. They think of tzitzit that it actually is talking about the edge of the garment, the hem of the garment. It was to have blue in it. And so forth. Now I'm like, okay, let me look at this to see, could they be right, or is the tradition right? Trying to, discern here. And then I see this, and it's a short tassel. So it makes me wonder, because then he talks about don't lengthen your tassels. Don't wear long tassels. It never tells us how long the tassels are supposed to be. Were they supposed to be the
Sit down right on the couch. Sit right there. Jojo, you're gonna sit right there on this.
That's my question.
Sit down on the couch.
That he gave us
Ryan,
a
you're gonna come sit
picture.
down on this
The
end of the couch.
recording sounds horrible.
I don't know what to do about it.
You guys
All
are
the
gonna stay
children.
right there.
What are we supposed to do about it?
It's
Calm
like,
down and chill out.
it's impossible. Like, I'm listening to it and all I hear is
The background noise will always come forward unless you put microphones on all of us.
I was thinking to put just a mic right there and I'll have
In
to
the
put
middle?
that mic, yeah. So that I can focus just on
They
us.
focus on us more, although you're going to have the sound back.
Well,
That's
there are
what.
tabletop microphones.
That's
Yeah,
what he's
I
talking
have one
about.
of those mics.
My only suggestion is that we set, if it's possible, I don't know if this is possible, either set up downstairs for the children,
Yeah,
because down there their noise would not carry up here so much.
yeah, it's possible.
And then different ones take turns going downstairs to be with the children.
Yeah.
Why don't I take them out front and let them play out in the front yard for a little
But
while?
part of this is for you to be here to hear this, because you don't get to stay.
Here with them
I can
screaming
go out
and
and watch
yelling,
them.
there's nothing
I can go outside and watch them, and y'all can go through. Okay? Because this is, I know, I understand, because we don't have anything for them to do, and they need to have better preparation. Parents have got to start bringing stuff for their kids to do, so that we have things for them to do downstairs and outside and so forth. And then we'll just take turns an hour at a time, or half hour at a time, or something like that.
Demonstration of wire.
That's what we're gonna have to do. So I can take them outside for a half hour while y'all leave, okay? And,
We're almost done with the Torah
Yeah,
portion.
let's do it for next time.
Okay.
Yeah, we're almost done with the Torah portion, right?
Okay.
Next time.
Do we have any toys or something or video we can put on for the kids because they're downright bored and that's why they're getting commission because they're bored. And we just need to have something.
I know, I
I meant to bring vegetables to get with me and
we're gonna have to just start making up a box to have here and stuff,
Yeah, we'll do that.
and set them up downstairs and outside, and just take turns going back and forth with them. So, I mean, can we put on something for them to watch maybe?
There's no TV downstairs. Let me see. I think broadcast, right? It's
Right.
Demonstration of Wirecast.
she looks very cute dressed today.
He's so cute. You're such a cute little girl. See, I'm so cute.
Not big enough to fit in
Anyway, maybe do some research on the actual words. That's what I'm going to do. On the actual words of everything for the tassels and the tzitzit. I don't want to stick with the tradition just because it's tradition.
Well, we're
Doesn't
not
make-
supposed to say what it
It
is.
doesn't mean it's accurate. Now, I personally believe that they were tassels because these are tassels. They're just short tassels that look like
And that was
hot.
specifically for the priests.
Right, but does that mean that we were supposed to have ones like that on the edges of our gardens. I'm not saying necessarily all along. That's what I'm just, and that's why he said don't make them long.
What, the description that he's giving is for Aaron and the priests.
I understand that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that what they had was completely different than everybody else. That's why I'm saying I gotta go look at the words, see what the actual Hebrew words are.
And there also may
Deceive.
be other books that, like Jasher and Jubilees, that may
Right.
have
And
information.
it's just Jasher, finding the time to read all of Jasher, and together is difficult.
This is a
I wish I had it on
demonstration
eSword to be able to do word searches,
I know.
make life a lot easier. Otherwise, I just have to
Send a
read the whole
message
thing.
to the eSword. Tell them that you'd like to have it where you can get the other books of
So,
the,
I mean,
let's see.
At
You can
this
actually
point,
make
I
these
would-
sorted modules.
I've looked
Yes,
for it,
but
I
It
can't,
doesn't exist. The other books,
Yeah,
Jasher,
No, I'm
Yeah,
saying
they do.
you,
No, I'm saying in eSword.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
there's people on a separate site who have made modules for the different
Then
things.
why haven't you got
demonstration
the
of
Jasher?
wirecast.
Because the Jasher one will not download for me, I've tried, and the Enoch one will not download for me, I've tried. And it won't work, I guess I don't know enough about computers to do whatever it is they want me to do. I'm following the directions, and I can't get it to download for me. And so,
we'll figure it out.
anyway, this is something to study, just because we want to do things correctly. At this point, I will still wear the tassels I wear until I know for sure, or am relatively convinced.
Well, right now, it's doing it as best as we know how.
Right, but at the same token, can't help but think he's put these in here because it always seemed random to me, him just throwing in to put on the tassels, and there was no second witness to it. There's not a second witness for the tassels. What if this is the first witness and that's the second?
Is a demonstration of wirecast.
That they would have been aware of what the tzitzit were, because the high priest wore them. And now he's saying to them, you put them on too.
But again, it should be carefully considered because
Oh, that's what I'm just saying, what if? It's just something to look at, to study, to consider. I'm not saying jump off and change everything. But if you don't question it, then you're still going along with the traditions of man and doing it because it's tradition.
right,
You don't do anything because it's tradition.
you do it because it's truth.
You do it because scripture says to do it, and that's what Yahweh says to do. But we have to study that out to prove it. And he says he gives us 2 witnesses for everything. I've not yet found a second witness for the tzitzit. So, anyway, go ahead.
All right. Verse 25 of 39. And they made bells of clean gold and put the bells between the pomegranates on the hem of the robe, all around between the pomegranates. A bell and a pomegranate, a bell and a pomegranate, all around the hem of the robe. For the service as Yah had commanded Moshe. And they made the long shirt of fine linen, the work of a weaver, for Aaron and his sons, and a turban of fine linen, and the turban ornament of fine linen, and short trousers of fine woven linen, and a girdle of fine woven linen with blue and purple and scarlet material, the work of embroiderer, as Yah had commanded Moshe.
This is a
And they made the plate
demonstration
of the
wirecast.
set-apart sign of dedication of clean gold, and wrote on it an inscription like the engraving of a signet, set apartness to Yah.
Okay, you know what that makes me think of? When Messiah was crucified and what they put over his head.
Yeah. Yeshua is the king of the
That's what it reminded me of. I'm like, was symbolizing is the high priest's headpiece? It just made me think of that. Go ahead.
All right, verse 31. And they put on it a blue cord to fasten it above on the turban, as Yah had commanded Moshe.
Of wirecast.
And all the work of the dwelling place of the tent of meeting was completed, and the children of Israel did according to all that Yah had commanded Moshe, so they did. And they brought the dwelling place to Moshe, the tent and all its furnishings, its hooks, its boards, its bars, and its columns, and its sockets. And the covering of ram's skins dyed red, and the covering of fine leather, and the veil of the covering, and the ark of the witness with its poles, and the lid of atonement.
Okay, I find it interesting the red, dyed red, as in blood, covering. At all times. I find that interesting. Go ahead.
Verse 36. The table and all its utensils, and the showbread, the clean lampstand with its lamps, the lamps to be put in order, and all its utensils for the oil, and the oil for light, and the altar of gold, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the covering for the tent door, the bronze altar and its bronze grating, its poles and all its utensils, the basin with its stand, the screens of the courtyard, its columns and its sockets, the covering for the courtyard gate, its cords and its pegs, and all the utensils for the service of the dwelling place, for the tent of meeting. The woven garments to do service in the set-apart place, the set-apart garments for Aaron the priest, and his son's garments to serve as priests, according to all that Yah had commanded Moshe. So the children of Israel did all the work. And Moshe looked over all the work and saw they had did as Yah had commanded, so they had done. And Moshe blessed them. All right, it's chapter 40 now. And Yah spoke to Moshe, saying, on the first day of the first month, you are to raise up the dwelling place of the tent of meeting, and shall put in it the ark of the witness, and screen the ark with a veil. And you shall bring the table and arrange what belongs to it on it, and bring it in the lampstand and light its lamps. And you shall set the altar of gold for the incense before the ark of the witness, and put up the covering of the door of the dwelling place. And you shall set the altar of the burnt offering before the door of the dwelling place of the tent of meeting. And shall set the basin between the tent of meeting and the altar, and shall put water therein. And you shall set up the courtyard all around, and shall place the covering of the courtyard gate, and shall take the anointing oil, and anoint the dwelling place and all that is in it, and shall set it and all its utensils apart, and it shall be set apart. And you shall anoint the altar of the burnt offering and all its utensils, and set the altar apart, and the altar shall be most set apart.
I was looking up all of the herbs that are in the anointing oil, because this anointing oil was not to be put on the human body. They're all cleansing type herbs and such. And so this was not just them doing like we see Catholics do, sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. This was, from what I can find, literally drenching the items in it, cleansing them, literally cleaning them. I found that interesting.
Well,
it was washing them.
Oh yeah, taking all the impurities.
So, but the vision I was always taught was it was just a little sprinkle, and I never got it.
Yeah.
But now to see that, okay, this was a literal physical cleaning. It was not a spiritual cleaning, it was a physical cleaning, getting everything off of it so that it was clean to be used. So.
Continue. Verse 11. And you shall anoint the basin within its stand and set it apart. And you shall bring Aaron and his sons to the door of the tent of meeting and wash them with water. And you shall put the set apart garments on Aaron and anoint him and set him apart as to serve as priest to me. And you shall bring his sons and put long shirts on them, and shall anoint them as you anointed their father, and they shall. And Moshe did according to all that Yah had commanded him, so he did. And it came to be in the first month of the second year, on the first day of the month, that the dwelling place was raised up. And Moshe raised up the dwelling place, and placed its sockets, and set up its boards, and put in its bars, and raised up its columns, and spread the tent over the dwelling place, and put the covering of the tent on top of it, as Yah had commanded Moshe. And he took the witness, and put it in the ark, and he put the poles through the rings of the ark, and put the lid of atonement on top of the ark, and brought the ark into the dwelling place, and placed the veil of the covering to screen off the ark of the witness, as Yah had commanded Moshe. And he put the table in the tent of meeting on the north side of the dwelling place, outside the veil, and set the bread in order upon it before Yah, as Yah had commanded Moshe. And he put the lampstand in the tent of meeting, opposite the table on the south side of the dwelling place,
Demonstration of
and lit the
wire
lamps before Yah as Yah had commanded Moshe. And he put the gold altar in the tent of meeting in front of the veil, and burned sweet incense on it as Yah had commanded Moshe. And he set up the covering to the door of the dwelling place, and he put the altar of burnt offering before the door of the dwelling place of the tent of meeting, and offered upon it the burnt offering and the grain offering as Yah had commanded Moshe. And he put the basin between the tent of meeting and the altar, and put water therein for washing. And
demonstration
Moshe
of wire
and Aaron and his sons washed their hands and their feet with water from it. And they went to the tent of meeting as they had came near the altar, and he would wash as Yah had commanded Moshe. And he raised up the courtyard all around the dwelling place and the altar, and placed the covering of the courtyard gate, and Moshe completed the work. And the cloud covering the tent of meeting and the esteem of Yah filled the dwelling place. And Moshe was not able to come to the tent of meeting because the cloud dwelt on it, and the esteem of Yah filled the dwelling place.
is a
And
demonstration
when the
of
cloud was
wire
taken up from above the dwelling place, the children of
This is a demonstration of Wirecast. This is a demonstration of
Aaron.
Wirecast.
And his sons with water before he put the shirts on them. So my question is, was it just plain water he washed them with? Or was it the water of uncleanness that is made up to wash? And that's my question. I don't know if I'll find the answer to it, but I'll look for it. Okay.
Okay, we are in 1 Kings 7, verse 40, and we're going all the way up to chapter 8, verse 21.
Demonstration of Wirecast.
1 Kings 40, 1 Kings 7:40 to 8:21. Okay. And Hiram made the pots and the shovels and the bowls. Oh, careful.
I mean, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
She wants her nana.
You're okay.
Demonstration of Wirecast.
Alright. And Hiram completed doing all the work that he was to do for sovereign Shelomo on the house of Yah. Oh yeah. The two columns and the bowl-shaped capitals that were on top of the columns, and the two networks covering the two bowl-shaped capitals which were on the top of the columns. And the 400 pomegranates for the two networks, the 2 rows of pomegranates for each network to cover the two bowl-shaped capitals that were on top of the columns. Oh yeah.
This is a demonstration of
And the
Wirecast.
10 stands and the 10 basins on the stands, and the 1 sea and 12 oxen under the sea. And
Wait,
the,
the one C? Is the Lord talking about like the sea? Because
Yeah, but what stands out for me more than that is they made molded images. They made 4 oxen, molded images for the temple. You cannot tell me that that's what Yahweh wanted. When he says, do not make molded images
And
and use it in his temple? No.
It's kind of dangerous.
That's the reason why there's one person that says that Solomon was actually a form of an antichrist.
Yeah, I just, the more I read of First Kings and see the things in there that go against Torah in building the temple, literally go against Torah, the more convinced I am this was man doing
In the
it.
Testament of Solomon, it even says that he had help from like demons creating the temple too. Yeah, in the book.
It just,
It's the
you know,
Temple of Solomon.
and sometimes it's little things, but here I mean, last week we saw, hey, she wants you, honey.
It's okay. Mama's here.
Because I did research on Hiram, the man who came to do the molding and everything.
Yeah.
He came from Tyre.
Mm-hmm.
He was half Hebrew because his mother was from,
This is a
Not
demonstration
Dan.
of
I
Wirecast.
can't think of the name. Anyway, from one tribe, and the father was from Tyre. Now, Yahweh had a certain man. He gave him the heart to do it. And this man was first obedient to Torah. He was first obedient to Yah before Yah chose him. Not the implication with this guy. This guy was chosen because he was really good at gold work.
Yeah.
Really good at doing molding with all the metals.
Yes,
And
yeah.
so he went to a country outside of Egypt, outside of Israel, to bring in someone to build his temple. Not even someone from Israel to do it. What does that say? He sent to other countries to get all the stuff to do it, instead of having the people bring it in and contributing to have it built, like they did the tent of meeting. They didn't weigh any of the gold, silver, or bronze. They didn't know how much they had. They said there were just so many pieces, so they didn't weigh it. Yahweh had it weighed. They knew it. There's all these things, and then these bulls.
Molded.
Yes, they go against Torah, against what Yahweh commanded for the tent of meeting when he said do it exactly this
In
way.
fact, in Deuteronomy 12, it says, do not learn the ways of the heathen and worship God in that way.
And I would not be surprised if you go and find the temples that were in the area,
Demonstration
if
of
they were
Wirecast.
not copying bits and pieces from these other temples to make this, to make it stand out, to make it grandiose.
Well, so no different than the king. Everyone else had a king, and the people begged for a king.
Okay, and here's the other thing that stands out for me. I said this a while back, that I believe that the tent of meeting was representing the human person, the person who follows Yahweh. Now we see he made the tent of meeting very humble. Anyone looking out at it from outside would only see a tent.
Wouldn't expect much.
They would, right. It wasn't until you got to the heart.
Right, which was the most holy place.
And you got to I know the gold and all that was on the treasure is in the heart. Okay?
Well, where your treasure is, that's where your heart is also.
And that's what I'm saying. So that's, more and more I'm seeing this. He's saying, now I want you to be humble. I want you to be simple. I found verses that say, live simply. Be simple in how you live and what you have, because then it does not open the door to sin. The tent of meeting was simple.
But then even Paul said during his letters that, live quietly.
Exactly. This temple was not simple. It was not quiet.
It was
It was not
extravagant.
humble. It was about man. It was not about Yahweh. The tent of meeting was about Yahweh. And
Because he gave the instructions.
what your heart is with him.
And it
That's
seems
what
like-
it was.
It seems like we took that same model because
Oh
people
yeah.
nowadays
They
wanna
build the
build
church.
tremendous churches.
Not just that, they want to have grandiose services. They want to have lots of people.
Not
They-
just that, they want to have really nice Sunday
Sunday-
best clothes
right.
and everything like that. So it's always
It's about
Someone
appearance.
showed an actual
Appearance.
comparison between a rock.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
And the staff, did they not come back? Well, I don't know.
Brian, don't step in.
Demonstration of Wirecast.
I don't know. That's,
I just noticed that.
huh. Brian?
And it came to be when the priest came out of the set-apart place that the cloud filled the house of Yah, so that the priests were unable to stand and perform the service because of the cloud, for the esteem of Yah filled the house of Yah. And Shlomo said, Yah said he would dwell in the dark cloud. I have indeed built you an exalted house, an established place for you to dwell in forever. And the sovereign turned around and blessed all the assembly of Israel, while all the assembly of Israel was standing. And he said, Blessed be Yah, the Elohim of Israel, who spoke with his mouth to my father David, and with his hand has filled it, saying, Since the day I brought my people Israel out of Mitzrayim, I have chosen no city from any tribe of Israel in which to build a house for my name to be there, but I chose David to be over my people Israel.
Okay, read that again.
Since the day I brought my people Israel out of Mitzrayim, I have chosen no city from any tribe of Israel in which to build a house for my name to be there, but I chose David to be over my people Israel.
Brian, stop kicking.
It's not just Brian, they're all three.
Are they? Okay.
I have chosen no city.
But he said that before, that he didn't want a temple. He said, I don't need a house, I have the whole earth. I don't need a house. The tent was for the people to see how they were supposed to be. And have a place to come to make their sacrifices, to, do these things. Which, speaking of which, I don't know what to write, epiphany, about the sacrifices.
An aha moment.
About the sacrifices. Another meaning of the sacrifice. He says that your works, if they're built on anything other than the word, will be burned up.
In fact, if anything done not of faith is a sin.
Okay, so I think that part of the burning of the sacrifices represents, that's why you're bringing the sacrifice, because you have sinned, you have broken the command, so what you did is burned up. So it was a physical sign of what he's speaking about. So I thought that was so neat. I'm like, see, he's showing us what's going to happen. It burned up. He gave us a physical symbol.
By the way, right from here, from 17 to 21, David, not now, okay? We only have a few more verses, like a handful left.
Right.
So we're going to be done before quarter after.
That's fine.
And then we'll be ready to probably.
I need my food put in.
Okay.
No,
But we need to discuss what happens
About 400 or so.
with
if I have in there, I can't go
Sandy.
that high.
Okay, whatever you want.
Okay. Verse 17, and it was in the heart of my father David to build a house for the name of Yah Elohim Israel. But Yah said to my father David, because it has been in your heart to build a house for my name, you did well that it was in your heart. Only you do not build the house, but your son who is coming from the lines, he does build the house for my name.
In case you guys want a king, there you go. But it's not in my desire to give you a king. That's exactly what it's saying.
And that's what he's saying
Not in my
there.
desire.
But then David decides, then that
I'm
must
gonna do it
be
anyway.
Solomon.
No?
But it's not. It's speaking of the Messiah. He says, but I am going to give you a physical temple. And he's going to build it, and it's going to last forever.
That one
Okay,
didn't last
it's
forever.
not,
Exactly.
it physically could not, because Solomon is a human being. It could not physically last forever.
10%
He was
didn't
not
last
speaking of
forever.
Solomon. He was speaking of Messiah. David made the assumption and decided, this is what I'm going to have happen. This is what I want to happen, so this is going to happen.
Brian, that's enough.
Brian's not.
Crazy, isn't it?
So, yeah. Go ahead.
All right, let me read that verse 19 again. Only you do not build the house, but your son, who is coming from your loins, he does build the house for my name. Now Yah has established his word which he spoke, and I have been raised up instead of my father David, and sit on the throne of Israel.
I have been raised up to the heavens.
I will be like the Most High.
Exactly.
As Yah promised.
What verse is God talking to David about building the house?
That was, Nathan did that.
I want to continue, like, what, if you find exactly what he tells him after.
Oh,
Because this just stop right there, you know.
Yeah, oh,
Also,
yeah.
my name. Now I.
What verse would you just on?
Verse 19.
Hold on, I'll find it for you.
No, it's verse, actually verse 20.
Okay. Because I found it and put it in a couple of weeks ago where it was, so I can pull it up from those, but 2 Samuel 7. I mean, you really have to look at it. If you go to the very beginning. And it came to be when the sovereign was dwelling in his house, and Yahweh had given him rest from all his enemies all around, that the sovereign said to Nathan the prophet, see now, I am dwelling in the house of cedar, but the ark of Elohim dwells within curtains. And Nathan said to the sovereign, go do all that is in your heart, for Yahweh is with you. Doesn't that sound like Yahweh's with us, so it doesn't matter? And it came to be that night that the word of Yahweh came to Nathan, saying, go and say to my servant David, thus said Yahweh, would you build a house for me to dwell in? For I have not dwelt in a house since the time that I brought the children of Israel up from Mitzrayim, even this day, but have moved about in a tent and in a dwelling place. Now, if you go to King James, it says I think says it a little bit better. And not that verse. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of another verse. Sorry. Wherever I have walked with all the children of Israel, have I ever spoken a word to anyone from the tribe of Israel, whom I commanded to shepherd my people, Israel, saying, why have you not built me a house of cedar? Have I ever asked you to build me a house? Have I asked any sovereign to build me a house? And now say to my servant David, thus said Yahweh of hosts, I took you from the pasture, from following the flock, to be ruler over my people, over Israel. And I have been with you wherever you have gone, and have cut off all your enemies from before you, and have made you a great name, like the name of the great ones who are on the earth. And I shall appoint a place for my people Israel. Okay, that's not saying a city, a place. He's appointed Israel, the land of Israel. And shall plant them, and they shall dwell in a place of their own, Israel, and no longer be afraid. Neither shall the children of wickedness oppress them again, as at the first. Even from the day I appointed rulers over my people Israel, and have caused you to rest from all your enemies. And Yahweh has declared to you that he would make you a house. When your days are filled, and you rest with your fathers, I shall raise up your seed after you. Notice, your seed, who comes from your inward parts, and shall establish his reign. He does build a house for my name, and I shall establish the throne of his reign forever. Now notice, it says, when you have died and have gone to your fathers, I shall raise up a seed after you. Could not have been Solomon. Solomon was already born.
Yep.
That's true.
Okay?
That's a prophetic statement. Right?
Yes. Okay, but my kindness does not turn aside from him, as I turned it aside from Shaul, whom I removed from before you.
In fact, you look at Daniel when it talks about the statue that Nebuchadnezzar dreamed about. that a stone shall come from the sky and smash the statue,
Demonstration of
and
Wirecast.
it will be a kingdom that will last forever.
Aha, see?
Right there again.
Uh-huh. And your house and your reign are to be steadfast forever before you. Your throne is established forever. Now,
The
it's not literally
the
David's
key word
throne.
is the seed,
Yes.
the righteous. That's the key word. It's not
Uh-huh.
And Yeshua is
Solomon.
called
It's
the Son
not
of David.
Solomon. It couldn't physically not have been Solomon.
It's the seed of righteousness. Just like the book that we imitate. It's the seed of righteousness.
Uh-huh. But he makes it very clear. It can't be right. It cannot be Solomon. Physically cannot be. But people read over that. They don't pay attention to what it really says. So anyway, yeah, no, it was David's idea. I think he planted it in Solomon's head. You know, you're going to be great. You're going to be mighty. Look what Yahweh told me. It's you. And so Solomon thought very highly of himself.
It's just like Isaac was made blind.
Maybe that's why he did all he did. You know how like right now the Jews have the mentality that they can do whatever they want because they have the right. Because
Well,
God gave them the
well,
right.
They're soft because they're
Maybe that's what
Well,
was in Solomon's mind.
Well, unfortunately, in the Babylonian Talmud, they actually believe that they are genetically superior than everyone else.
It's crazy.
Absolutely. They do. They think that. And it has never, and it has never, ever been about nationality. Ever.
It's always been about faith.
It's always been about the heart.
Seed of faith.
I have issue with about the word faith because people make it this ethereal thing.
Well, no, it's like if you look at the biblical.
It is all about the heart. A desire to be obedient.
Well, actually-
about the heart.
The biblical definition of faith, as one person pointed out, it's like the word pistis actually means an action based.
Yes. But not the way the church teaches it
No,
today.
It's not an emotion.
Exactly.
Right.
The church,
No, when I
the church
speak of
teaches
faith,
like
I don't
emotion.
Or
speak of like.
it's mental assent or
Because
acceptance.
whenever you
That's
see
how
him
they-
talk, Paul talk a lot about, and you boast in the Torah, they boast in who they are as Jews.
Exactly. It's
And,
not.
and look how much knowledge I have, because we want follow Torah, their own Torah. Okay, okay? So it's about boasting about
And
Yahweh.
it could even be the same Torah itself. But if you're boasting about it and your heart is not up to par with the righteousness that He wants, then you're doing it for nothing. Because I think
Doing
even
it to build yourself up.
Paul himself says that if you even do Torah and not do it with the heart, then you're not doing anything.
Right.
Because I think in Galatians it says that even though they were observing the feast, they still failed because they were not following faith. Something like that it says. I have to find it.
Yeah, it is all about you have a desire to be obedient.
Yeah.
You have a desire to do what Yahweh wants you to do.
Yeah.
And that's why you do it.
Doesn't it say?
And so therefore, that is what makes them righteous acts and makes it right to do. And that Torah leads you to salvation, as the church wants to teach.
Doesn't he
Because it
say,
teaches you the way to walk.
Wirecast.
Doesn't Yah
and the way you
himself
do.
say, I think in the Psalms and the Prophets, that He doesn't want sacrifices, He wants obedience.
Well, okay, but think about what the sacrifices represent.
but
No,
let
this
me
is
get-
no. It's
let me get to-
this is no. What it was when Saul took all the he slaughtered everything except for the animals, and he offered that up as sacrifice. And the prophet went to him and said, "Listen, obedience is better than sacrifice."
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to, you know? So even though you sacrifice, you do all this, you do all the rituals that the Jews do, you're still not being obedient because it's not about the rituals you do. And most
Doesn't
people...
mean you don't do them.
Exactly. No, that's what I'm saying. Most people misinterpret Paul and say, oh, you see, he's saying not to do it. No.
Oh, there's a
If you do it in faith, then you might as well not do it at all because
It means
it
nothing.
means nothing.
There was a
Means
person
That's
nothing.
exactly
It's
what
like
Paul
they're
is
going
saying.
to church.
Yeah,
It means nothing when you do it out of ritual.
exactly.
You know, there's a person on Facebook that posted up that we don't have to keep Passover like the Israelites did because the fulfillment happened. And so I posted up a comment and said, that's like saying you don't have to keep, that's like justifying the Sabbath being changed from the seventh day to the first. Just because, the fulfillment doesn't alter the commandment.
No, doesn't change that you're to obey. If you choose, he says, you serve who you obey.
Yeah.
That's what Paul said. You serve who you obey. So you either obey to righteousness, which is obedience to the word, or you obey to sin, which is disobedience to word.
Exactly.
There's no in between.
Demonstration of
You
Wirecast.
can't have it both ways.
You know, someone who says this, there's a gray area, that's like putting a drop of toxic poison into a glass of water.
Right. Right. But people
I ain't
have a
touching
hard time wrapping their heads around when you say Torah is salvation. Yahweh said it over and over again. Torah is salvation.
Even in the
My
parable.
word is salvation.
Even in the
because
parable.
it is what teaches you how to walk the way He wants you to walk, so you will be the person He wants to have in His kingdom.
Most of his parables were like
Oh,
that.
in fact, a lot of Christians overlook the parable
Wirecast.
of the rich man and Lazarus, Eleazar. He said they have the Torah, they have Moses and the prophets. Let them hear them,
Right.
because if they will not hear that, they won't believe someone has to lead rose from the dead.
Exactly.
Right? Because it was all about walking the way He said to walk. Do what He says to do.
Where was Paul then? They have Moses and the prophets and Paul.
We need to
Oh.
finish.
All right, so we're in verse
So it's
20.
still gonna be a little while longer.
That's fine. That's fine.
We're
I have
having
no idea
fun.
how long.
We don't have many verses. I mean, after this section, we have 2, 3, 7 verses.
It's sad. Paul must be like going crazy.
People misquote
I know.
him, well, because they don't look at the context of what he's saying.
Yeah.
He is over and over and over again. He even uses Jasher. People don't realize that. He uses Enoch. People don't realize that.
Mhm.
But when he's teaching from the Tanakh.
Yeah.
All the things he teaches, there's nothing new.
Of Wirecast.
Absolutely nothing new.
And
But he says it in such a way that it confuses people if they don't go back to look at what is he talking about.
Well,
Where is he
because-
quoting that from? Because that's how you understand what he's talking about.
Because they're first told you don't need anything in the Old Testament, start from Matthew.
And that's why you don't
Or John.
understand. That's why you can't understand the New Testament. If you don't you can't understand Messiah if you don't understand Torah.
It's like they live
You can't.
in a contradiction because it's like
Dude.
everything is by faith and you just follow Jesus and everything is by faith. But if you look at the definition of faith, faith requires action. Action is in Tanakh. So if
Right.
you don't, you know, so it's like a contradiction. Like, so what are you? Like, what are you trying to do?
Yeah. It's
All right,
Alright.
we're on verse 20. Now Yah has established His
Okay.
word.
1 Samuel. Wait, no, I
So verse King 80. Verse Kings 8, verse 20.
Okay, I got looking for something else and I lost where we were. Okay, go ahead.
Now Yah has established His word which He spoke, and I have raised up and set up my father David, and sit on the throne of Israel as Yah had promised, and built the house for the name of Yah, Elohim of Israel. And that's how we interpret it.
I. Notice that. And I sit on the throne. And I built. And I did this.
Well, let's just look at Ezekiel.
That's what it makes me think of. And now I raise myself up.
Hold on.
You know, holy moly.
What is it, Ezekiel 14?
I'm not good like finding where things are like you are.
Yeah.
I can't remember where they're at. I just remember I read it.
Hold on. I will be like...
Who would be like the most high?
Okay, where is it? B, let's see.
Okay, now go and try and tell someone else
Demonstration of
that
Wirecast.
Solomon was an example of the Antichrist. And see how they
They'll
react.
Don't let-
I've told people, they think I'm crazy.
Oh no, it's
They think
Isaiah
I'm, like,
14.
completely
Isaiah
anti-Jew, anti-temple, but just read the Bible. That's-
Okay,
you know?
Isaiah 14.
Actually, read it.
Yeah.
We'll start from, because it says, "How art thou fallen, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations?" For you, let me put in the scripture 98.
See, Paul
For
talks
you-
about the spirit of anti-Messiah. The spirit of anti-Messiah can go into anybody because that's the spirit.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Yeah.
What's
you
the
have-
behavior?
For you have said in your heart, "Let me go up to the heavens, let me raise my throne above the stars of El, let me sit in the mount of meeting in the sides of the north, let me go above the heights of the clouds, let me be like the Most High." Yeah, that was the boastful statement.
I think that's what he's doing here. He is lifting himself up, saying, "Look, I did. Yahweh said I would do this.
Because, like you said, like you read in the other section, that he said after your death, after you've been gathered to your fathers.
Then a seed will come from you. That's only the Messiah.
Yeah.
That's so crazy because this applies to like every pastor, every supervisor that wants to take that leadership of the Messiah, you know, because when the Messiah left, he left the counselor, but then pastors want to get in between
Demonstration of
the
Wirecast.
Messiah and us, you know,
Exactly.
which is weird. That's exactly what.
Well, that comes out of religion
Solomon's
such as
doing.
Roman Catholicism, where they say you have to go through a priest to.
But even that
But that-
comes from paganism.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The
But that's
majority
what-
of stuff from, well, here's the thing people don't get. Most of the stuff from Catholicism comes from paganism.
Actually,
And most of the stuff in modern day churches comes from Catholicism.
the confessionals was actually a Babylonian invention to basically blackmail the people that were confessing their sins.
This is a
You see,
demonstration
I
of
was reading
Wirecast.
a history kind of thing that said that Christians, the pagans, didn't convert to Christianity. Christianity
Converted.
adopted all of the pagan practices and everything like that. The pagans back in the day were really against Christians coming into their fold and joining them.
Oh, even nowadays,
Which is
pagans actually are very outspoken about Christians, you know, mirroring their pagan festivals.
Yeah.
But they will not see that that's,
Demonstration of
they will just say, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. The churches will not open their eyes to see. They are blind.
Well, it's because of years of conditioning.
Well, yeah, well, you've inherited lies. You know how often I pray thanking him that he opened my eyes?
Yeah.
As hard as it has been,
Mm-hmm.
and as difficult as it continues to be,
I look back and
I am
find it kind
so
of scary of the
thankful.
things I believed.
yes, I know. I do not deserve to have my eyes open like because of all the things I did.
Wirecast.
I do not deserve it.
But
The
here's the
fact
thing,
that he let me see.
But here's the thing: we had to go through what we went through, so we can appreciate it more.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I am so thankful.
All right, let me finish up this one. And verse 21, and I've appointed, 1 Kings 8:21, and I've appointed there a place for the ark, wherein the covenant of Yah, which he made with our fathers when he brought them out of the land of Mitzrayim. All right. The next section is 1 Corinthians 3,
This is a demonstration of
verses 16 and
Wirecast.
17. 1 Corinthians 3, verse 16 and 17. Do you not know that you are a dwelling place of Elohim, and that the Spirit of Elohim dwells in you?
There, see, my support for saying the Tenant meeting is about the human person.
If anyone destroys the dwelling place of Elohim, Elohim shall destroy him, for the dwelling place of Elohim is set apart, which you are.
Paul had it all correct.
He did.
Yeah. He had it all
Okay.
correct.
Can we go back to verse 15? Because that leads into it, and it was part of what we did
Oh yeah.
last week. And I know y'all won't go look at what I sent you.
If anyone's
So,
work
I
is burned,
do.
do you? Because I
Yeah.
never know whether y'all do or not.
I do.
But this was really big for me because this is one of the verses that the people had used for so long to say, see there, we're saved because of the, But when I really went, this is one that took me so long to really study and research, okay? I think we have a false understanding. And so when I went back to the Hebrew, the Greek words, and looked at what they really meant, okay? I'll read what I wrote. What deeds is this speaking of? Keeping Torah, the commands of Yahweh. To have your deeds burned means that what you did was not obedient to Yahweh's commands. I believe that this is one of the things that offering a burnt offering represents, the burning of your unintentional disobedience. By this act of confession, you suffer in your heart and conscience because you have failed Yahweh, broken the covenant. However, at the same time, you have been rescued from the evils and penalties of sin because you have humbled yourself and turned back to Yahweh. Therefore, in a sense, when a person brings a sin offering, that person is being saved by that offering by the fire.
if anyone's work is burned, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved, but so as through fire.
Right. He is safe because he has humbled himself and turned back.
In
And
other
that
words,
fire is what burns it up.
and symbolically, it purifies the person because it's burned off.
But that is what the burnt offering represents. And so you don't understand that verse, and they make up their whole different meaning for it because they don't understand the offerings and the Torah.
You could build another church with that.
They do. They have. And that's why I'm saying, if you don't break it apart, you don't
Oh,
understand
it's
it.
just like the snake handlers, the ones that handle snakes.
Oh, I know. That one verse.
So
Stop.
I think you need to understand that and realize this is why he's saying you are the dwelling place. Understand this. When you need to bring offerings, you're destroying Yah's temple.
It goes hand in hand with the tent of meeting, not
Yes.
with Solomon's temple
Right.
and all that
This is the
nonsense.
In
tent
fact,
of
it wasn't even supposed to be Solomon who built it.
Exactly.
All right, the next one is Hebrews 13, verse 10, just the one verse. We have an altar from which those serving the tent have no authority to eat. Why just have that one verse? I don't know.
I have no idea.
But that one I struggle with. I have yet to study that one out. What altar?
We might need to read the entire chapter.
Well, I'm going to have to study. That's why I said this last one took me a while. Because you have to read the entire chapter. You have to go find what is it talking about in Torah to understand the verse. And I don't understand what altar do they not have the right to eat at, because the priests ate the sin offerings
Right.
that were brought.
Of Wirecast.
Okay, so
Symbolically that they were like Yah's consuming the sin.
it's gone. It's gone. Okay. That's what I'm saying. He gave us so many physical symbols of what is in the spiritual realm. It's unreal. But what altar is this speaking of?
Okay.
So that one I'm going to have to take some time to study to understand.
The last section is Revelation 15,
Demonstration
verses
of
5 through 8.
Wirecast.
Revelation what?
15, verse 5 through 8. And after this I looked and saw the dwelling place of the tent of witness in the heaven was opened. And out of the dwelling place came the 7 messengers having the 7 plagues, dressed in clean bright linen, and having their chests girded with golden bands. And one of the 4 living creatures gave to the 7 messengers 7 golden bowls filled with the wrath of Elohim, which is forever and ever.
Demonstration of Wirecast.
And the dwelling place was filled with smoke from the esteem of Elohim and from his power, and no one was able to enter the dwelling place until the 7 plagues of the 7 messengers were ended.
Makes me think of with Moses, they couldn't enter the tent of meeting because of the smoke.
Exactly.
It was all filled with smoke.
Because
So,
it's the same esteem.
So he is there. No one's able to enter it right now until the plagues have been done.
Yeah.
No one is able to enter the
Demonstration
heavenly
of
tent of meeting.
Wirecast.
Which it won't be heavenly, it'll be down here when he breaks it down.
Yeah.
But no one's able to enter it.
Exactly.
So that's interesting. But no tent.
Yeah, and
Doesn't say temple, tent.
and it's a parallel of what happened.
That's why he said, make it exactly so. So it's the same thing that they built, the tent of meeting. This is what he's talking about.
And that is the last of the readings.
Interesting.
Wow, that wasn't much.
No, it wasn't as heavy duty as some of the others.
You have any comments or questions, Krista?
I'm the only one that is on?
Yeah, because Bridget wasn't able to join us today.
Okay. No, I don't really have questions. I'm just listening today.
Okay. So, do you like it?
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of a little off today. Just seems like an off kind of day.
I learn every time, but it's a lot for me, like I said before, you know?
This is a
I have to
demonstration
always
of
go back a
Wirecast.
little bit and you know, study by myself.
Of course. And you know, Latrice always sends out the notes, and you've been receiving them, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Listen, I have to apologize. I didn't go into it last week because, like she said, nobody goes into it. I'm sorry about that.
That's
but I'm
fine.
trying to do my best.
It's okay, they're just my notes for myself. I just shared them with everybody. It's from my studies.
This
You know, because I study all this on my own to prove everything
I
else.
wonder how you do it about that land there. Hey, what was his name? Heyman?
No, Hiram.
Haran.
Oh yeah. So I was wondering where you get all this information from? He's half Hebrew, you know.
And that part I found in Torah itself.
Okay.
Or the Tanakh. It tells you, you have to research a little bit further back, but it tells you that he came from Tyre, that the king of Tyre sent him, and that his father was from Tyre and his mother was from, was it Naphtali?
Naphtali.
Yeah, I think it was Naphtali, I think.
Okay.
So it tells you that. I try very hard not to make suppositions. I try to give facts, and then if I don't have the facts, I will say this is what I think. Because I do not want to add to Yahweh's word at all.
Yeah, I know. Thank you so much. You're really a good researcher.
Well, thank you. That is him teaching me how to do it, because I didn't used to know how to do this. So,
Yeah, you know what? You get curious and you want to know more, and that is how it goes. You know,
Where's your
it's
socks,
searching,
David?
searching.
yeah, well, he puts questions in my mind, and so then I have to go find the answers to the questions. So,